buzz is all around. The orange clowns are coming into town. They say the team is good, but they're Illinois, so we're obviously dubious. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. The IU report is here with wisdom to impart. Time to forego some of these basketball traditions. Not you, Martha. And never, ever, ever get in line behind Bret Bielema at a port-a-potty. It's a small space. Woo! Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. You're listening to the IU Report with Grant Shouse and Mike Hutsell every Tuesday afternoon on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Please come back for our official IU Illinois preview Thursday evening. Here they are, Greg, Grant, and Mike.
Welcome, Hoosier fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for this week's IU Report with Grant Shouse and Mike Hutsell. Big week. Grant, take it away.
It's like we've been talking about this for ever now. Since the season began, we've been thinking about this week, and it's time to start really diving into Illinois and digesting them and knowing what they can do. And they're a good team. I mean, this is no slouch for either team. Got to be able to play, got to be able to move the ball, got to be able to do the intangibles you got to do to win the game. And I'm confident that Indiana could come out of there on Saturday night with a win.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've talked all season. It feels like the first 3 games were simply the on-ramp to this one. And we've picked up steam and speed since game 1. Game 1 was a little slow. Game 2 looked a lot better. Game 3 was just a debacle for Indiana State. And now you've got a game against the team that thinks it's your rival, but it's not. The Whining Illini, led by the man you least want to see, the Big Ten coach you least want to see walking out of the porta-pot when you're walking in, Bret Bielema.
That's always been Wisconsin's coach, and Bielema just took it anyway, right?
I mean, he was Wisconsin's coach for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. It's always been Wisconsin's coach, and he took the crown with him.
He takes that title anywhere he goes. So
he's the one dude that I feel like, he might be one of the only ones I think I could lose an eating challenge against.
Biggest rivalry.
He went to Buffalo's before the game. He would definitely out-eat me.
Oh, yeah. I say Brett's biggest rival isn't any Big Ten program. It's Golden Corral.
Or what do you know about this Illinois team coming in?
Well, the things that stood out to me is usually with Brett, or as I like to call him, Bert, his teams are so physical and so good on the offensive line. And I don't get the sense that this Illinois team is particularly great on the offensive line. And with Indiana's defensive line being what it is, if Illinois is the 17th graded offensive line in the Big Ten, Indiana's got one of the top graded defensive lines in the Big Ten. They lead the conference, I think, in havoc plays, and Illinois leads in havoc plays allowed. So it's not normal in these type of games where Indiana is playing a team that's ranked in the top 10, one of these Big Ten rival games, where they could potentially be the more physical team on the line. And that might well be the case coming into this. If Indiana can control the line of scrimmage on defense the way they have, I don't think you're going to see them keep this team out of the end zone. That would be a lofty goal like they've done the last 2 opponents. But if they can limit the running game, make this a one-dimensional with Luke Altmaier, I think that bodes well for Indiana.
I want to remind everybody real fast that this is not the IU Illinois preview, but we promised that we would do an IU Illinois preview like 5 straight podcasts. So
yeah, this is the Illinois preview part 4.
That's right, and we'll have part 5 on Friday.
So my thing is if you really think about it, and you think about how Indiana's only allowed Kennesaw to hit 3 field goals against them, shut out Indiana State. When you really think about it in the grand scheme of things through 3 weeks, Indiana's only given up 2 plays. You really think now they had the chunk plays where Kennesaw, was able to move the ball down the field. But again, we've talked about it on here. Who really cares what they allow between the 20s? From 20-yard line to 20-yard line, who really cares? So
I don't have to point out, Bill, that we're talking about Kennesaw and Indiana State, right? It's a little different.
I understand, but
I just thought that caveat was important.
Right, but when you go back to the Old Dominion game, and how about this one? How'd that team end up doing this weekend?
Probably better than a MAC team.
Yeah, I mean they beat Virginia Tech over the weekend, and
like you called it,
they actually got Virginia Tech to fire its coach. So that Old Dominion team was good, and again, you really think about it, Indiana only gave up 2 plays, 2 long runs for a touchdown, and who cares what happens between the 220s?
Mike,
just
we
stop in the red
game that IU won 85 to 90% of the plays in that game, and that's all you can ask for.
And the Indiana, going back to the line play, Indiana's now 3 straight games with 300 yards rushing. I mean, so the physicality isn't just limited to the D line. It's clear that Bostad's, pushing a little bit more on the O line as well. Still think there's some issues at right tackle. I'm not a big Khalil Benson or Zen Mahowski fan, but going into this game, I wanted to see what the line would look like and what the line would do once it opened. And it opened at 3.5. It moved to 4.5, and it hasn't moved from 4.5. And a lot of the money's coming in on Illinois. So that tells me Vegas thinks they've got this thing right, and they are just cleaning up on sucker bets for Illinois. That could be wrong. That's an inexact science, but there's awfully nice casinos out in Vegas that they've built with the money from games like this. So that's a pretty good indicator to me of what the mindset and what the people see when they put these two teams side by side.
And Vegas is never wrong. Sometimes, rarely wrong. That's a good sign. I watched that game, Illinois, Western Michigan, the other night, and the first half, I'll give Western Michigan a lot of credit. They hung in there, couldn't put it in the end zone, but they played well. They held Illinois to 10 points in the first half. Here's where I'll give Illinois credit. In the second half, they came out fired up. They were able to move the ball. They got a good quarterback. They got guys that can move the ball up and down the field. And it's pretty impressive to see the way that offense can go, but it's just not better than Indiana's offense, I don't think. Indiana's offense is more explosive at times than Illinois', and I think they push the ball better up the field than Illinois can. Illinois, I think, is almost too methodical with it, how they do it. Indiana's way more explosive.
I seriously don't want to jinx things, but I'm saying this is going to be no contest.
Really?
Really.
I like your level of optimism. I'm not really ready to go there just yet.
I cannot take Illinois seriously. I just cannot take Illinois seriously. And I do take Kurt Signetti very seriously.
Well, my thing is that I think it's one of those games where if Indiana wins, it'll be by 3 or 4 scores. I think if Illinois wins, it's by a slim margin. I don't think there's any in between. I don't think Illinois wins in a blowout, and I don't think IU wins a close one. There is 0 in between. I think it's one of those games.
If they do win by 3 touchdowns, do they come out of the weekend in the top 10?
Indiana?
No.
Oh, well, they should, but they won't.
Absolutely not. Brett McMurphy may consider possibly putting them in his others receiving votes at that point. The clown show that is the AP poll is continuing to expose itself collectively. We could go on and on. I don't know exactly who in the group chat. I was just made my point to just dismantle this weekend, but who you play matters, I guess. Tell that to South Florida, who beat 2 ranked teams and then lost to the number 4 team in the country, and they mysteriously were removed from the top 25. So Notre Dame, who you play matters. You don't have to beat them. You just have to play them.
Exactly.
And Notre Dame, who loses and then gets a bye week every time they lose because they did it after week 1. And this week they have Purdue. So
I was going to say their strength of schedule is not what people have made it out to be.
Year. It's pretty good.
Not this week, though. This is their one cupcake.
As I said on this week's Purdue report, they might not be as bad as we thought, but they still might be.
They are better. I'll give them that. They did better things at better points in the game than the previous
I
team
also
would
think
have.
USC.
I wouldn't say that they're not good. I think you could probably factor in the 3-hour delay to
I put
it.
them in the Washington, UCLA, Rutgers, Purdue.
I don't know about UCLA.
Maybe not
UCLA is basically
UCLA.
a Big Sky team at this point.
Just those teams that are in the bottom, not named Northwestern. They're all in the
True.
mix for the bottom.
Well, I mean, USC better be good because that's Notre Dame's toughest game remaining. That's their one chance at a win. I mean, they're gonna talk all last year about Indiana not playing anybody, Indiana only losing to the good teams they played. Well, Notre Dame could be sitting here at 10-2 at the end of the year with no ranked wins. It's the same argument that they made against Indiana last year, but they started the year in the top 10, and they have yet to fall out of the rankings.
Comparing the Duke game to the Old Dominion game, and this is where the point in the podcast where people are going to be like, oh, wow, like these guys are dumb. But I really think I'm right here in that Old Dominion is probably 14 to 21 points better than Duke, and I think would beat Duke in a head-to-head.
I mean, that's a bold number. I don't disagree that they might not win a head-to-head. Duke, we saw a little bit more about how good they were because they came back at the end of the game, but they were absolutely manhandled by Tulane for 3.5 quarters. On Saturday.
And Tulane's a good group of 5 team. That's a really good team. And
plus the name Green Wave is really cool.
It is really cool.
Best uniforms in college football, by the way.
Yeah. Too, yes. But don't ever disrespect the city of New Orleans.
And plus New Orleans is a pretty cool city. That was my next thing I was going to say.
And don't forget Duke took Tulane's starting quarterback out of the portal and gave him just a stupid sum of money, and then Tulane still ran them. So that was a pretty fun subplot to that game.
Mike, I'm curious on Saturday, where are your seats? Where are you sitting?
I'm in section 102, I believe.
The visitor section.
Yeah. It seems to be where you get the cheapest seats on the secondary market. It was also where I was for the Old Dominion game. The 5 Old Dominion fans that were at the game were quite friendly. I mean, fun to talk to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be over in the Whining Illini section.
There's not a whole lot you can really take away from the first 3 conference games. And we knew that coming in. I feel like there is a lot, but it still doesn't. Those teams aren't Illinois.
But what I think we can take away from the first 3 games of Illinois is they suck.
That's pretty bold. I mean, because they're good. They're good.
But they're still Illinois.
But we're going to find out a lot about Indiana and Illinois this weekend.
But win or lose, they have to go back to Illinois.
Champaign-Urbana. Have you gotten your rehearsed line out yet? When Indiana does win this game, Illinois was never that good. They should have never been in the top 10. They weren't that good.
Curious what your guys' thoughts are on, and I guess we kind of knew this coming in. We talked about it Saturday and the reaction, but curious on what your guys' thoughts are on a big-time pregame show not coming to Bloomington on Saturday morning, whether it's big noon kickoff or game day or even the pathetic Big Ten tailgate.
Real fast, before we get to that, and I want to get right back to it. Grant said that we don't really know much about IU through 3 games, and he's right. We don't know much, but here's what I gather from watching the 3 games, and that is IU is really good. I think they are really good.
Yeah.
I think they're a top 10 team in the country.
Here's how I look at it with that is that I'd way rather than fly under the radar. I'm good with them flying under the radar until if they win this week, then I think the respect that needs to be added. And think
still might not come.
It probably won't.
But you still can play your way right into it.
I still think it takes Illinois and the Iowa game to get your respect because you're not going to beat Oregon.
It still won't happen. It won't happen until you play Oregon competitively. If you can. And I'm not sure.
And that's a tall task for any team. I mean, going up there, Dan Lanning has no problem putting a number on you. And that's one that can get away from you quick.
I don't know if you guys agree or how much you've seen Oregon, but Dan Lanning is maybe one of the more likable coaches in the country.
Those colors and that feel and Nike and the whole thing. makes me not like
Oregon's
Oregon,
so cool.
but I really like Lanning, and I like the way he coaches football. And they're the best team in the country from what I've seen, guys.
Probably. All right, now let me ask you guys this question here. Curious on your thoughts, and we kind of knew this coming in that this probably wasn't going to happen, but I was surprised by what they did select is that there will be no big pregame show on Saturday morning, no big noon kickoff, no college game day, and no pathetic Big Ten tailgate, as far as I know, coming to Bloomington Saturday. Curious on your thoughts, and I understand big noon kickoffs, stands going to Texas Tech, Utah. It's a Big 12 game. They have the rights to the Big 12 and the Big 10. But college
they'll play the game at noon.
Yeah. And college game day going to 1-2 Florida versus Miami. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't understand if Florida was 3-0.
Oh, absolutely. It would make a lot of sense. But you've got a team in Florida. Their quarterback threw more interceptions on Saturday than they'll get wins in the entire season. That's the real fact.
Yeah.
5 interceptions. If Florida gets to 5 wins, it'll be a small miracle with their schedule. It only drives home the fact that this network is going to do whatever they can to take the shine off the Big Ten when possible and put it back on the SEC and ACC, because that's what their rights are with. And I understand that from a business decision, and they're going to inevitably have to go to Big Ten games. Oregon and Penn State coming up. I think Ohio State, Oregon's still on the schedule. But you could have went to Miami in 2 weeks. Miami, Florida State's coming up. You could have went there in 2 weeks. This is just like a slap in the face. And I would have been fine. Now South Carolina losing took the shine off that whatever fake Columbia bullshit we talked about last week. Rivalry.
The Columbia Bowl.
But they've never gone to a 1-2 team in like 25 years, I think I read. And this team hasn't beaten a Power 5, Power 4, Power 3.5, whatever we're calling it these days, team this year. And who knows when they will. They got Mississippi State. They already beat Arizona State. Kentucky, that's coming a ways down the road. But Florida's terrible, guys. I mean, we saw it again Saturday night. They could not do anything against LSU. And Lagway, who's supposed to be this Heisman level top of the NFL draft guy, it was completely lost. I mean, 5 picks in a primetime game, and then they get rewarded with this game. This is a debacle. I mean, it says everything you need to know about ESPN and their business relationship with that conference.
But to be fair, it's a national primetime game, and that's more important than these shows coming, right?
Sure, but they've shown they have no problem with flying one of their analysts on a private jet from the show location to the game location in another part of the country with Herb Street. My thing is with College Game Day is it's one of my favorite shows ever. I love it. I think it's a part of the tradition if you're a college football, and for people who are kind of casual college football fans, they don't care. And college game day is, when they make the picks at the end of the show, that's like, all right, now the day can start. We can get on with the games. And the other day, man, that show was taking forever. Felt like they were dragging it out. It was not very good. It did not have the aura that it had. Like, I like when they go to schools like Indiana or like when they went to Cal last year. Those were good shows because they're
new.
Yeah, they're new. I mean, you're going to Georgia, Tennessee, like
you're there all the time.
Yeah, you're in the SEC all the time.
You're in Columbus, Ohio all the time.
And they have no problem going there for a Big Ten game.
Right.
Like when Indiana's playing Ohio State there. Yeah. They have no problem going there. And so it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't make sense, but then at the end of the day, I don't want to give these guys too much crap because I really like them. I'd rather have a primetime night game on a prime slot on national television than some stupid 3-hour show where they really don't interact with you off a camera.
Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns.
Well, the IU basketball team has decided that they'll have their red and white scrimmage. Not really a surprise. I brought it up in our thread just to kind of make mention of it. Like here, there's nothing really to talk about. They're having a scrimmage on Friday, October the 3rd. It is free to the public, which is awesome. Be a good night, take the family out, see the guys, get some autographs.
I'm with Grant on this. I think it's cool that they're going to do the Thursday night on Kirkwood. Again, I'm not the target demographic for that. I don't think I'll be in attendance. Sounds like a ton of fun though. If I was Grant's age, I would be there camped out at 3 p.m. and forgetting everything I had in the.
I'm going to try and be there because problem is Thursday nights, dude. I got volleyball. I got to do volleyball and stomach volleyball. So I don't know when I'll get my schedule here in a couple weeks. So if October the 2nd's open, I'll be there. But it is cool. I think that is cool. Do the Thursday night and Friday night, have your scrimmage. And then really the season doesn't open for another month after that. You're not playing a regular season game, but you have your exhibition preseason with Marion,
yeah.
Awesome. I can't go to it. I'm so mad about it. I can't go to it. It's on a Friday.
Great scrimmage, guys.
Yeah. I mean,
fantastic to the schedule, man.
I mean, it's cool if you're a classic IE fan.
Yes.
It's cool, Pat's back. It was really cool to go to that last year when they played Marion and Pat came back and everything. And that was really cool. And then the real thing, and I think I'm going to try and go to this and hopefully we can have a good reaction from it, is on October 26th, the Sunday, they're going to be playing Baylor at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in an exhibition. And that'll be very crucial to see how they look against a big-time opponent. And I know that's not a regular season game,
but it kind of is.
We can use that as a huge measuring stick to preview the season.
Yeah, don't get too excited. I mean, remember Indiana did beat Tennessee in that game last year.
That's different. I mean, that Tennessee team, it was a fluke for sure.
I did see one thing, and we talked about the Kirkwood event. Something that I really, really like to see. It was Jeremy Gray, the associate athletic director at IU. He's been very, very vocal about trying to win back students on the basketball side. It seems like there's been a divide over the last few years. Indiana used to have just such a raucous game altering student section at their home games. And I went to the UCLA game last year on a Friday night expecting, a bunch of kids who hadn't been in class all day to strolling over. And it was like a church. It was so quiet it was clearly just the adult fans. And they've talked about just having to try to win those students back and maybe changing some of the things and the traditions. And they talked about, you keep the candy stripe pants, but you've got these black script Indiana uniforms that the kids all loved. They brought them out last year, maybe going to those more. I think this is the perfect time, with nobody having a clue who anybody on the team is, to put the damn names on the jerseys. In the NIL era, it's over, guys. I'm sorry. I know your JV coach thinks it's awesome that they don't have the names on. They play for the front of the jersey. The under 8, the William Tell.
The greatest timeout in college basketball. Here's my thing with the name on the back of the jerseys there is now.
Martha, by the way.
Oh, you got to. But with the name on the back of the jerseys, you bring up, I really never thought about that. That's a good point. You're in the age of the NILs. Who cares? The younger demographic is not going to care. Guys my age don't care. But, man, you're going to have some old...
Your uncle at Thanksgiving is going to talk about how he'll never watch another game because they put the name on the jerseys. The 58-year-old thrice divorced uncle that, is racist and probably drinks Bud Light for, his Thanksgiving dinner.
Once they put the names in the back of the jerseys, that's when
that guy.
It's going to start being like the Cracker logo. You're just going to boycott. They're not going to come to games anymore.
That's right.
So
don't be Cracker Barrel. Just stop just short of Cracker Barrel.
No, I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to the names in the back of the jerseys. Changes some of the traditions. Indiana wants so bad to run things, especially mainly, I think, in the basketball department, how they did things in the 80s. 80s and 90s. They want to go back to the Bob Knight days. They want it to be this tradition of Indiana basketball. I hate to say it, as much as I love Coach Knight, you just got to move on. Times have changed in college basketball. It's not the way it used to be anymore. And there's just a lot. There's a lot that needs to change. That, like you said, the traditions need to change a little bit. Not opposed to, you still got to keep Martha, keep the candy stripes, keep the under 8 timeout. Just change how the game day experience is brought to you inside of Assembly Hall. There's things they can change, and there's things that they will change.
And here's something we really have to let go. And this is a controversial take. I don't think it's going to be very popular, but the watch shot doesn't ever need to be played at Assembly Hall ever again. I'm sorry. It was a great, great, great moment in our history. It's probably the last great moment we've had in our history, but it was a regular season win and a game that we lost in the tournament. It's time to move on. I love Christian Watford. The whole, a couple years ago where the hysterics, recreated the shot on the court was just embarrassing. We've got to stop living in the past, because 2002 was the last Final Four. My son was born in 2011. He doesn't remember the watch shot. He doesn't give a shit about Bobby Wilkerson and all these guys we talk about, as great players in the past. And this recruit reminds me of the Van Arsdale twins. Nobody under the age of 30 knows who those people are. And Dick, Tom, I apologize. I really appreciate everything you did for the program,
here's what I'll say. 2 things about that. Number one, I've been saying it here for a few years. No more watch shot. Move on. It's done.
It's such a great moment.
It was a great moment, but the only time I think it's appropriate, the only time I think it's appropriate to bring it up and celebrate it is on the anniversary of the shot. Remember, it's always remember the 10th of December is when he hit the shot. That's how I always think of it. So December 10th, always post it, post the video, post the picture, relive the moment on December 10th. But the other 364 days, it was cool, but we're over it. That was 3 coaches ago. That was 3 basketball coaches ago. That was almost 15 years ago. Second thing is Jake Query. He's on a show not the other day. This was months ago during last basketball season. And he said, Mike Woodson going in to talk to these kids from Indiana saying, oh, son, pointing that finger, and you got to come play for Indiana basketball. You got to come play for Indiana basketball. These kids, that was his kind of, I think, downfalls, that these kids don't know who he is. They don't care who Mike Woodson is.
And IU hasn't been relevant in their lifetimes. I mean,
exactly.
Nationally relevant.
I agree. And Jake Query said the equivalent to his generation, and maybe your guys' generation, of an IU player coming to talk to you and saying you need to come play for Indiana basketball and how great Indiana basketball is, would be like Don Schlunt coming and talk to you guys. I wouldn't know Don Schlunt if he walked through the door here. That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent to like Mike Woodson and those guys in the 80s.
I mean, Mike Woodson, I don't even have memories of Mike Woodson as a player at Indiana. I don't. I mean, I was alive for the Woodson era, but I never saw him play. I mean, I'm sure maybe my sisters propped me up in front of the TV when, because they didn't want to take care of me. I don't know, but it was cool. And I feel like I understood what they were going for when they went to Woodson, because they had been lost in the weeds for so far coming out of the Archie era. They thought, well, we've never gone back to the former player route, even though everybody's talked about Offord all those years. But you got to hit on something to put yourself in front of these kids. Like, I live in, the Bermuda Triangle of sorts of college basketball. I've got to listen to Kentucky fans, Louisville fans, and Indiana fans. Guess who I don't hear a lot from down here anymore?
Indiana.
It's Indiana. And Louisville was awful for 2 years under Kenny Payne, but they've been nationally relevant a lot more recently than Indiana ever has.
Yep. I 100% agree. And it's just that Indiana is, it's hard to say. I think it's a tough pill to swallow these days. It's not a blue blood anymore. Just isn't. And, I think the blue blood that's kind of come in on the scene and taken that away from him is, I think, UConn.
I mean,
Watch
5
UConn.
titles since 99. Yeah.
6 titles.
6. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I think Duke, UConn, Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas. I'm not even sure you count UCLA anyway. They might be on the out too. Those are your 5 ones.
It feels right now like North Carolina is starting to slide. I mean, in those rankings. I mean, as crazy as that is to say, the school of Michael Jordan. If they keep holding on to Hubert and they keep these bubble seasons up, not competing for ACC titles and playing in the first 4, that's kind of where Indiana started.
And all I want to see from Indiana, I know we've said it all the time, is I just want to see them nationally relevant again, at least for now. That's what I always said with the football team. I just want to see them go 7-5 every year, 8-4, be consistent, just
become Iowa,
be enjoyable to watch every single game. That first year of Indiana football, I was not expecting an 11-2 year, 12-2 into the playoff. But I mean, hell, you'll take it. You'll take it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I want to see that with Indiana basketball, and I think that was the decision making when they had to make a change within the program. They saw what the football team did, and they said, we have got to replicate this with basketball. And I think as of right now, they have the right guy with DeVries. We think right now, I'm willing to go on the record and say they have the right guy with DeVries, who is about as normal as a coach as Indiana's had since maybe 1973 Bob Knight, before Knight went nuts.
I want Indiana basketball to get to a level where it's not this damn difficult just to make the tournament. I mean, I want to go into Selection Sunday. We're going to be at least a 5 seed, get that dangerous 5-12 matchup, then possibly, get a game against, a Gonzaga in the second round for a chance to go to the final, the Sweet 16. That's what I want to get to. And then from there, we can focus on 1 seeds and, where regional sites and things like that. But I just don't, it should not be this hard for Indiana basketball with their resources, their NIL, their history, their fan base to compete for just a damn tournament spot.
Mike, my top 2 sports wishes before I die is a Pacers championship, and that we get to relive IU and Purdue basketball from 87 and 88 again.
I was still a little young back then, Greg. I remember the 87 title game, but I just want both teams to be relevant. I want the game to matter. I mean, I was at the first 2 Mike Woodson Purdue games where they won the Finney shot, and then the game where it was the day before the Super Bowl where they knocked off Purdue when they were still number 1, I believe. I want to see a game where they're both in the top 10. It's the last weekend of the season. We're playing for the Big Ten title. I do want to see that, Greg. I agree with you there.
The buzz is all around. The orange clowns are coming into town. They say the team is good, but they're Illinois, so we're obviously dubious. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. The IU report is here with wisdom to impart. Time to forego some of these basketball traditions. Not you, Martha. Never, ever, ever get in line behind Bret Bielema at a port-a-potty. It's a small space. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers by 3 touchdowns.
Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITU Media, and I love Susie.